We asked this Sporian uncle why he decided to go back to uni at the age of 61. I'm happy to let uni stay a rose-tinted memory. After all, going back to school also means going back to a life of 8 a.m. classes, module bidding wars, and endless groupmate politicking, along with some fun new additions you get as a mature student. There's the apprehension of committing years of your life and thousands of your hard-earned dollars to something that may or may not work out, plus the fear of struggling to catch up, having been out of the system for so long, something I feel already, even as a fairly recent graduate. Not for Chongwan Min. It was in 2017 when he woke up one morning, came across an ad in the newspaper, and thought to himself, in a manner typical of him, as I would later find. Cut to a few months and a number of Google searches later, he walked into class at the Singapore University of Social Sciences as a newly inducted student in the Bachelor of Science, Human Factors in Safety program. Fresh from a 5-week solo hitchhiking jaunt across Europe, Chong was the very picture of an adventurous, youthful, gutsy spirit. And all of this just 2 months before his 61st birthday. Eventually, a few of his friends decided to give up on the class. Being a core module, dropping it meant dropping out of the degree program, a step which Chong refused to take himself. Instead, he redoubled his efforts. He'd listen to recorded lectures again and again and trawl YouTube for explanations. He'd even ask his daughter to check through his work, adds his wife. I see him every night sitting there, working, she recalls. Very tough law, not easy. When I first heard about Chong, I expected a typical uncle of the coffee shop frequenting, Singlish-speaking variety, and despite my best efforts, I'm still a pretty judgy person. Going back to uni? Probably just to pass the time, lore. Also, if I were to be honest, my university-age self wouldn't be super happy to have someone like that as a classmate. How do you even make friends with someone like that? Anyway, I can imagine 19-year-old me rationalizing as she callously excludes the uncle from her list of potential groupmates. But I'm surprised at how easily the conversation flows during the interview. Even after I stop recording, we continue to chat. Now that he's graduated, he hopes to repeat his solo hitchhiking feat of 2017, this time in China. We talk about our plans for the evening, too. He's going out with his family for a celebratory dinner while I'm headed home. He asks where I live, and after a short discussion with his wife, he tells me, we fetch you home la. It's only at my insistence that home is just a short bus ride away that he relents. That unexpected kindness chastens me. I start to think if that paisaness I'd imagined an older student would have, that whole fish out of water syndrome, is something born out of my own self-consciousness. Since when did learning become a privilege reserved for the young, anyway? Why should anyone feel embarrassed about going back to school? Chong doesn't, anyway. Healthy, active, and intelligent, he's not content to rest on his laurels and depend on his daughter for shelter and sustenance. He won't even allow himself to fall into obsolescence. The less spoken of Singaporean dream won't let himself be quietly ushered into the aimless comfort of retirement, a purgatory of lazy afternoons and cruise holidays. In this, at least, he's quite a typical uncle. His easygoing manner makes it easy to make friends with the younger students, who he describes as helpful and cooperative, if a little quieter than what he's used to. I ask what it's like working with them for group projects. His answer is strikingly ordinary. They have meetings at Starbucks, and they compare notes on WhatsApp. It could have come from literally any other uni student, including myself. This podcast is created by Kronos Worldwide Productions.